Murdered before his 21st birthday, the young father shot at point-blank range.
I've run downstairs and Adam was just laid on the floor.
The aunt just took Adam, they took Ruby's daddy, and that's what really hurts.
Can you name the killers?
Hello and welcome to Crimewatch. We're live and I'm surrounded by top coppers from forces all across the country, all hoping that your calls will help solve a major crime tonight. I have to say, we had some amazing results last month. One wanted man handed himself in before we were even off air. And within hours, 3 others were in handcuffs. Can we beat that tonight? Let's hope so. Coming up on the programme, the latest on the Claudia Lawrence case. Plus, ambushed and hijacked, the lorry driver terrorised by robbers, armed with a taser gun.
Rosa, mate. What you doing? No! No! Do as we say and you won't get hurt.
And as well as hunting some of the most dangerous men in Britain, I'm after this lot. The thugs that left a bouncer for dead and then started mowing each other down in a drunken frenzy. So come on, let's get them tonight.
And I've got the inside story of how this unlikely bunch of cons thought they'd got away with millions in one of the most sophisticated counterfeiting scams in recent history. But from sipping champagne at Claridge's to talking tactics at a working men's club, little did they realise their every move was being caught on camera.
Now, this is Adam Chadwick. Here he is with his gorgeous little daughter, Ruby. Adam was only just out of school when Ruby was born, but I have to say he took his responsibilities as a dad very seriously, working hard as a carpet fitter to support her. Last June, he threw her a 3rd birthday party, but it would be the last time that he'd ever see her.
Come on, stay with us. Adam, stay with us. Stay with us. Come on. That's exciting. You're big lad. Come on. Come on. Stay with us.
We've got pastors and merchants. We've got ambulance on the way and we've got police officers on the way. You stay there and look after your brother. OK?
If I ever met the people who did it, I just want to know why. And I just need a reason.
I do miss him so much, and I think it's hard because we've got Ruby, and I just think these people, the aunt just took Adam, they took Ruby's daddy, and that's what really hurts.
Adam came round, like, probably late afternoonish, mid-afternoon, and I was cleaning house.
Oh, you all right?
All right. Ed, you all right, love?
Yeah. What are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
Where's Jay?
He's just nipped out to get some facts. He'll be back in a minute.
At the time, I was living with my partner, Jay, and Adam lived with my mum and dad. But 9 times out of 10, he'd be at ours most evenings.
Let me put this on, please. It's good.
Jay were watching a film, and he kept telling us to be quiet because we had music playing and he's trying to watch a film.
Right, I'm trying to watch it. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
And I remember not coming at door.
Put it on, it's
No.
Please, it's mint. I love it. Go on.
Me and Adam's been too interested in doing his thing, so Jay's got up.
Oh, please don't play that.
Is Michelle here?
No.
No.
Put that on. Click on that. Put that on.
No.
Please don't.
Why? Where you go?
Who was that?
Oh, just some girl looking for someone called Michelle.
Click on that.
It were later on, it like started getting dark. Still just Jay watching his film, and I was just listening to music. And then another knock come at door. I remember like me and Jay and Adam up and says, oh, who's this now again? Because it was late and you don't expect anybody around. Jay got up and I heard a girl again who was there at first time.
Is Michelle in?
Look, I've already told you she doesn't live here.
What's going on?
We've jumped up to help him because we knew, like, someone went at the door, then they were, like, shouting outside, like, where's Michelle?
Michelle, where's Michelle?
Adam and Jay are shouting to me, ring police, get on the phone and get upstairs.
What's Joe? Call the police!
What's your place? What's your emergency place?
Yeah, 28 Clifton Mount Edwards have got a gun up to kick my door in. Some more balaclavas on the place.
Shoot them!
And then I've heard a shot. So I've run downstairs and Adam was just laid on the floor.
I'm at this shop, quick, get out behind! Get out behind!
Okay.
I don't know. Get this big shop!
You just can't believe, you know, what you see, you know. It's just to see your son there and you can't do up for him, you know.
And then by the time we got to the hospital, we were told that he wasn't going to survive.
But you don't believe that. You go outside of his bed hoping that they're wrong. But, you know, then it come on the Wednesday when he had another meeting with us, a doctor, and he said we need to turn his machine off.
Adam was shot and killed at this door 10 months ago. Who killed him remains a mystery. We've been piecing the case together. This is where we are. Let's start with the car. The day after the murder, we found the car abandoned 2 miles from here. Witnesses recognised that car as the same car leaving the scene.
Yankee Hotel 54 Sierra Bravo Victor.
Now, when we looked into the history of that car, we found that it had been stolen 11 days earlier.
Give us your keys. Give us your keys.
We needed to know where the vehicle was, from the time it had been reported stolen to the time of the murder. We viewed hours and hours of CCTV. We found nothing except this. The vehicle on a petrol station forecourt 4 days before the murder. Let's look at the map. We know the car was stolen from here. The CCTV from the petrol station is here. Clifton Mount, the scene of the murder, is here. We know the vehicle was abandoned here on Chapeltown Road. My guess is that the vehicle was in the area for some time. We need to know where that was. What about the woman who was knocking on the door? Who's she?
Is Michelle in?
She was hanging around earlier in the night, and we know she was working with the 3 men that shot Adam. She may be local, she may be a drug user or an alcoholic. Someone must know who she is. Who were the 3 men with her? We know they were black, we know they were wearing camouflage clothing and balaclavas. And we know one of them had a Balkel handgun with a silencer. The big question is, why did they go to number 28?
Is Michelle in?
Were they really looking for a Michelle?
Where's Michelle?
Or was it just a trick to get in?
Michelle! Stop messing about with Michelle!
And if so, why?
Shoot him!
Whatever the motive, the outcome was the same. Adam was killed by a close-range shot to the head, and we need to know who did it.
There's just no answers at the minute, and that's what... There needs to be some reason, or people just can't just do something for no reason.
It's like every day I just think he's still going to walk in door. I still think he's still here. It's only like on a weekend when it hits me more, when we have Ruby, because that's the time when I know Adam should be doing the things with her, what we're doing with her. And she goes up to the grave and
she talks to
him and buys him a balloon or puts some flowers there, and, you know. Sometimes she'll say, what were wrong with Daddy? And I'll say, well, Daddy had a poorly head and doctors couldn't make it better, so he's gone to sleep now. And then she'll go, is Daddy going to wake up? And I go, no, Daddy'll never wake up. I said, but we have to remember all the nice things we did with Daddy.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? I'm joined now by Detective Superintendent Steve Payne. Steve, thanks for joining us. You're heading up the investigation. Is there anything to suggest that Adam was, in fact, the target?
Absolutely not. Adam was a hard-working family man, never been in trouble with the police. Nothing at all to suggest he was the intended target.
A decent young man doing his best in life. Tell us then what the motive might have been. Any clues?
We're not sure at this time. It's really important that we do trace the door knocker. We need the public's help to find out who this lady is. She's described as a white female, 20s, long straggly hair, scruffy appearance, maybe a drug user or a local alcoholic. Okay. We know that she was in the area for some time before.
Right, so we're taking a look at her e-fit now, and she kept saying, twice she said it, both times when she came to the door, Michelle, I'm looking for Michelle. Who's Michelle? Michelle
still remains a mystery. It may have been a trick to get into the property.
Tell me about something interesting, what might be interesting, that you discovered at the house. It was stolen property that was being kept there.
Yes, that's right. It is a possible line of inquiry. Gemma's boyfriend was storing some stolen laptops there, was growing some cannabis plants, but very, very low criminality. It may be linked, and I would ask anybody who knows anything about that property to get in touch with us.
Tell us about the gun and tell us about the guys that were holding the gun.
Yeah, the gun that was used was this gun, which is a Russian Baikal with a silencer fitted. I'm also appealing to members of the criminal fraternity. If they have any knowledge of this gun, they can contact us in confidence. We know that the three men were black men. They were wearing balaclavas and camouflage clothing.
OK, let's very briefly... tell me a bit about the car. We've got some CCTV. We'll look at it. Tell us what you know.
We know that the car was stolen on the 11th of June. We know that it was recovered on the 24th of June. And it was driven away from the scene by these men. What we also know is that it had its spare tyre changed sometime during that period. So it's important that if any members of the public saw that vehicle with its spare tyre being changed, that they contact us.
OK, that's something that people might remember. For now, Steve, thank you very much for updating us on that. Please, if you know something that could help in this appalling case, then do tell us. And Adam's family really do deserve some peace, not least for little Ruby. You heard about her and the heartbreak that she's going through. There's also a £5,000 reward for information resulting in a conviction. The number's up on the screen now. It's 0500 600 600. You might want to remain anonymous. That's not a problem. You can call the independent charity Crime Stoppers if that is the case. I'll give you their number. 0800 555 111. And if you think you need to see that reconstruction again, if that might help, then it's online, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. Now, Rav, with some criminals caught on camera.
It's all going on in this month's CCTV. Some very stupid behaviour and some very stupid disguises.
Chaos at this New Year's Eve party at Langston Road Football Academy in Loughton, Essex. A massive fight has erupted between revellers and staff after one bouncer was set upon, stabbed 20 times and left blind in one eye. An all-out battle begins. Anything close to hand is used as a weapon. Traffic cones, poles, even a car. One lad gets behind the wheel and starts mowing people down. He stalls and is trapped, giving the unlicensed doorman the chance to launch a frenzied attack. He's dragged from the car, but amazingly manages to get away. Just in time to be knocked down by his mate, who's also on the rampage. It's a miracle no one was killed. Some arrests have already been made, but police still need names for these 4 thugs. And who was the driver of the second car? Here's the reg, now give us the name. It's early morning at this BT exchange in Stepney Green, East London back in September, and everyone's still tucked up in bed. Wait a minute, who's this? Don't be shy, mate. Despite being caught on camera, it doesn't stop this master of disguise. Joined by a mate, they steal over £120,000 worth of telecommunication equipment. There's a 15 grand reward for information. So come on, it's good to talk. Pick up the phone and tell us who this is. 2 robberies at one amusement arcade in Shepherd's Bush, West London. This one's from March, and this one's from just earlier this month. Police believe this is the same guy. Come on, shaving off the beard isn't fooling anyone. Both times, one bloke has cased the joint alone before returning with backup to threaten staff with a screwdriver and clean out the safe. Staff were then made to wait in the basement until they'd made a getaway. During the latest robbery, they held a customer hostage, hit a member of staff, and one of them had a knife. Who knows what they'll do next? They've already hit twice in just 2 months. Don't let it happen again. 2 o'clock in the morning at these flats in Farnborough, Hampshire last August, and this lad is after a cigarette. Some men in a flat nearby say they'll give him one, and they're not kidding. They answer the door with baseball bats and go for him, smacking him so hard they break his arm. Pointless, mindless violence, and completely unprovoked. How long till this yob strikes again? Stop him tonight.
Well, think you know anyone? Call us here in the studio if you do. 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399. Just type crime, space, and then your message. And it's important to leave that space or your message will not get through. And if you need a second look, it's also online, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Now, still ahead, I'm joined in the studio by the woman left blinded after robbers broke into her home and attacked her whilst she was in bed sleeping. The detectives working on her case here need you to give them that vital breakthrough.
Murdered on Mother's Day, the man loved by his family and adored by thousands of reggae fans.
The last thing he said to me is that I love you and I'm proud of you. That's the last thing I heard my dad say to me.
And the amazing story of how this bunch of ugly mugs thought they'd be retiring to the Costas with millions from their banknote scam. Now they'll be retiring at Her Majesty's pleasure, as right from the start their every move was being watched.
We could see the gang coming together, but at this point we still were not sure exactly what each individual's role would be in this conspiracy.
Well, all that is still to come, but right now, hijacking, well, it used to be something we associated with planes. Now, of course, it's ships off Somalia, and in this country, it's a very different vehicle, lorries. In the last 12 months, over 50 lorries have been ambushed. The hijackers looking to steal, well, actually metal of any description, copper, steel, aluminium, to flog it on the black market. Metal theft is now a multi-million-pound business, but there's not just an economic cost to these crimes. There are also human consequences, as our next case shows. Most of these hijackers are armed and are dangerous.
All right, sweetheart. No. You get him to school on time. Oh, bless him. All right. No, I'll give you a call when I get there, OK? Hold on, sweetheart, I've got to go. I think I'm being pulled over.
This should be an easy one. Rosa! Rosa, mate.
What you doing? No! No! What are you doing?
Do as we say and you won't get hurt. Piss us off and you will. And put your seatbelt on. Put your hands on the wheel. Now drive.
Where are we going?
I'll tell you where we're going. Just stick to your normal route. Put your visors down and drive.
This is what they were after, £50,000 worth of copper wire. After they hijacked the wagon, they forced him to drive south on the M6 towards the Midlands. The hijackers made their hostage drive for 3 hours. Finally, they forced him to leave the motorway at junction 11 near to Walsall.
Good move. £50 worth of rubbish. It's gonna have to do. Move forward. Get us to the M6.
Well, I don't know where I'm going.
Just drive!
The driver had gone through a terrifying experience, but the hijackers weren't finished with him yet. They headed onto the M6 motorway towards the M50 for another hour and 10 minutes. The driver was frightened for his life.
Keep your head down.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me!
I'm not looking.
Don't. 15 minutes. Wait here for 15 minutes, OK? I'll find you. I guess. Shut up.
Okay, mate, you all right?
No, I'm not okay. Just get me out of here.
Fortunately, this time the driver escaped without injury. Next time it could be a very different story. We need to catch these people before it happens again.
Well, I'm joined now by DS John Crichton. As you say, the driver escaped without injury, but quite a trauma for him. How is he now?
He was lucky on this occasion. He didn't suffer any physical harm, but he's badly shaken up by this incident. This incident also involved a taser, which could have been potentially lethal.
Yeah, indeed. Happening more often then? Lorries being hijacked?
Yes, on a more regular basis, yes. This particular incident started in Preston. Where
take us through this. Take us through
Yes, where the blue Peugeots pulled in front of the wagon, and they've taken over the wagon and then gone on to the M6. We're appealing for witnesses in that area. Okay. We then moved on to Willenhall in the Midlands, where the tractor unit was changed and the load was taken away. This is a built-up area, and again, we would appeal for witnesses in that area. And finally, the vehicle stopped, and the driver and the wagon were abandoned around about 4:30 in the afternoon, and the blue Peugeot was seen to speed away from the actual site where it was abandoned.
Now, curiously, you still haven't discovered this 40-foot trailer. That's a pretty big thing to hide.
Yes, we'd be very interested where that is. The trailer can be identified. It may not have plates on, but it has this mark, CVR 251, on the actual trailer itself.
And very briefly, where do you think the copper will have ended up?
Well, it could have gone to a scrap dealer or even gone to Eastern Europe, and that is the particular item we're looking for.
OK, thanks very much for updating us. Well, I can tell you that West Midlands Police have set up a special task force, so they're all here tonight to help you. If you've got any information on hijackings, then please do call 0500 600 600, or you could text us. The number's up on the screen now, 63399. If you're a lorry driver and you think you're pretty concerned, worried, then there's a film on our website with advice from VOSA about how to check officials are genuine. And now here's Rav with some more faces caught in the frame.
We had a fantastic response last month. Can you believe one man handed himself in during the show, and now another 3 are behind bars? So can we top that this month? Well, my number 1 is Carl Johnson, Charlotte Church's ex. He's wanted for questioning after police seized 150 kilos of heroin from an address in Stratford, East London. Johnson was born in Cardiff but has links to Nottingham and has an identical twin brother, so don't confuse them. Next is Tian Bin Zhu. He's wanted on suspicion of manslaughter after he reversed his car into a 91-year-old woman and then ran her over twice in Leeds in July 2006. 36-year-old Zhu has connections to Leeds, Manchester and London. 3, this guy, Martin Hanrahan, also known as David Maloney, and Ted Bundy. He's wanted for a distraction burglary in a village just outside of Lincoln, stealing from an elderly lady suffering with dementia. He's no stranger to us, having already been on the show 10 years ago for a similar offence. After that, he was spotted and arrested, so can we catch him again tonight? He's a registered sex offender and considered to be dangerous to women. He has piercing blue eyes, bandy legs, and is known in the travelling community. And Raymond Daniels is my number 4. He's wanted for conspiracy to murder. Originally from Bradford, he moved to Marbella in Spain 2 years ago, but is now believed to be back hiding in the UK. He's 39 years old and also has connections to the travelling community. So, do you know where Daniels or any of the others are hiding tonight? Call now, 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399. Just type crime, that all-important space, and then your message. Don't forget to leave that space or your message will not get through. If you want to check them out again, you can go online, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch. And remember, all our wanted men stay on the website until they're caught.
Now, last November, Shireen Sadiq returned to Lewisham in southeast London from a week's holiday in Canada. She arrived home alone. She was pretty tired from her journey and she decided on an early night. The next thing she remembers is waking up in hospital. She had been attacked in her own bed as she slept. She was battered so badly that she was left blind in one eye. Let's take a look at her truly appalling injuries. This is the night she was admitted to hospital, and you can see that dozens of stitches were needed to piece Shireen back together again. Well, Shireen has decided to take the very brave decision to join us here tonight. She is joined by DI Paul Chamberlain, who is heading up the inquiry. Thank you very much to you both for joining, but especially to you, Shireen. It's important for the investigation that we show these photographs so as people understand how horrific the attack was. But it must be surely very distressing for you to have to see them again.
They do look scary, but I would say that I'm very glad to be here and to be alive, to be able to sort of look at them and not still be there.
I think it's remarkable you've got the strength of character and the courage to sit here on the sofa, because it's not an easy thing to do. I know that you are... Also, you were talking about the doctors and nurses who took such brilliant care of you on the day that you were admitted to hospital.
I just want to say thank you to all the staff at St George's, that when I was admitted, but also when I continued to be a patient, so that's both in intensive care and also on McKissick ward.
What about this horrible attack? Do you remember anything about it?
I don't remember anything of the attack. I remember waking up in hospital and being told I was safe. That was the first time I knew something had happened.
Of course, I mean, the injuries were appalling. Tell me about the effect that it's had subsequently on your life.
Well, physically, I've got plates in my head and under my eye. My jaw was broken and it's been rewired. I can't open my mouth very well to eat. Taste and smell is reduced. But it's not just affected me, it's affected my family and friends. And I've got more operations to come.
We wish you all the best with those.
Thank you.
Paul, shocking is an overused word, but an attack on a defenceless woman in her own home, in her own bed, in the middle of the night is appalling.
This was a horrifying attack. Shireen was struck not just once, but she was struck 3 or 4 times about the head with a heavy blunt object.
Can you take us through what you know about the attack? I mean, in terms of when it happened and what you know happened for sure.
This occurred on the 9th of November, between 9:45 that evening and 6 a.m. the following morning, and it happened in a quiet road in Blythevale in Catford.
Now, what was the motive? You can be sure of the motive here, can you?
The motive was burglary. A number of items were stolen from the house, a North Face jacket and a safe containing a quantity of jewellery.
Yeah, we're actually going to take a little look, because these are the actual pieces of jewellery. These were photographs that were taken prior to the robbery. what would you like to say to people I mean, indeed, if they're looking at them thinking, I recognise those?
These are unusual, they're distinctive and they're recognisable pieces of jewellery. Some of these items were bought specifically for Shireen, other items were heirlooms that were handed down from parents and grandparents. We would ask that if anyone has been offered jewellery like this, if anyone has seen jewellery such as this being offered for sale, to get in touch with us.
OK, Shireen, once again, thank you very much to you, and we really do hope that the fact that you took the time to come along here and talk about this really, truly appalling incident means that we can help you and that viewers can help you. So thank you for taking the time to do that. I should say to you at home that what's happened to Shireen is extremely rare, but the people who did this must be caught, and they must be caught fast. So please do call us now. The number is there, up on the screen. It's 0500 600 600. And if you've been a victim of crime, there is the victim support line. They are on a different number. It's 0845 30 30 900. Now, here's Rav with some more of the UK's Most Wanted.
Lots of calls coming in so far, so please keep them coming. Right, my number 5 is Serkat Abdullah Kadir, and he's wanted for sexually assaulting a woman in Banbury in July 2004. He was arrested and charged, but skipped bail and has been off the radar ever since. He may well still be in Oxfordshire, but using a new identity. He's 24 years old and believed to be of Iraqi Kurdish origin. Next, this chap, Mark Rhodes, a very nasty piece of work. He's wanted by 8 forces for theft and deception. 26-year-old Rose has swindled thousands of pounds from vulnerable and elderly churchgoers, pretending he's hard up. He operates up and down the country, staying in guest houses, and was last seen in Oxford. Police believe there could be lots of victims who haven't come forward yet and urge anyone who's given Rhodes money to please get in touch. My number 7, this guy here, Maurice Terrell. He's wanted for a £1 million money laundering scam. He lived in Root, North Lincolnshire, before going on the run and has links to Birmingham. Terrell is 61 years old and is a diabetic requiring regular medication. And last but by no means least, this guy here, Justin Boddington. Now, he's wanted for a serious assault in Portsmouth last month. During the attack, he repeatedly punched the victim with a knuckle duster and smashed his face with broken glass. The victim suffered multiple fractures to his face and has been told he will lose his left eye. Boddington is 37 years old, has several tattoos, including a sun on his right arm, and may be hiding with his brother in Northampton or Hampshire. Boddington needs to be caught. He is extremely violent, so if you see him, don't approach him. Just call the police immediately. So come on, let's put a stop to them tonight. Pick up the phone now. The number's on your screen. It's there, 0500 600 600. And you can also check them out, by the way, online, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Now, I've just been told we're getting lots of good calls on the shooting of Adam Chadwick. You'll remember that that's Ruby's young dad. He was only 20. One of possible significance, one that might be really important. We'll update you on that after the news tonight. Now, last month, over 1,000 women, men and children gathered at a memorial for Ian Newtion. He was, well, a larger-than-life man. He was well-loved by friends, family and fans in the reggae scene, and he was much adored by his 21-year-old daughter, Jade. Ian had been murdered on Mother's Day in a savage and utterly motiveless attack.
What's happened to our brother should have never happened to no one. Especially a person who done everything that is right.
Last thing he said to me is that I love you and I'm proud of you. And that's the last thing I heard my dad say to me.
Ian Newtion, known to his fans as Scoobie, was a talented reggae singer. On Saturday, March the 21st, he performed in front of hundreds here at the Scout Hut, a community hall in Greenford. But that gig was to be his last.
Baby, my girl.
The party went on all night, and in the early hours of Sunday morning, Scoobie set off to catch a number 95 bus home from here, Greenford Road. He wasn't seen for another 10 minutes. Was he on his own? Or was he followed?
At around 10 to 8, a group of lads were seen between the subways under Greenford roundabout. They were wearing hoodies and described as black males around 16 to 20 years old. Scoobie may have passed them on his way to the bus stop. It was here at the subway exit that Scoobie was last seen. He looked agitated. What had gone on in those moments before?
What happened next is far too horrific to detail. It can only be described as barbaric.
I was stunned, numbed, shocked, outraged, incredulous, and all other emotions in between.
What do you say? How do you go about explaining that your loved one has just been murdered for no reason? It doesn't make no sense. It ripped out everything out of us. Everything. Everything.
Scoobie was discovered lying in a pool of blood. It was 8:54 a.m. on Mother's Day. He'd been killed with a beer bottle. For what? His mobile was found beside him and nothing had been taken.
This was no accident, but one thing's for sure. Whoever did this would have known he would not have survived.
Ian was a kind, gentle, generous, hospitable man.
Not only a brother, but our best friends. Confident.
You're gonna be missed so much. So much people love my dad.
It just was incomprehensible, and it remains thus.
I love my dad. I'm never going to have a chance to hear his voice again, because someone's taken that away.
A kind, generous, gentle man, in the words of his family there. Well, with me now is DI Lee Preston, who is heading up the investigation. Thanks for taking the time to join us. So it happened, as we know, on a Sunday morning. It was Mother's Day, which people might remember. And what's interesting is it was actually the morning. I mean, daylight was up, people were around.
That's right, 7:45, bright, sunny, Mother's Day Sunday morning. I expect to be plenty of people out there buying last-minute cards, newspapers. Did they see Ian or anything suspicious?
Did they? Yes, I wonder. Lee, can you take us through the route that he took from the club and onwards?
Yeah, Ian's made his way from Rockware Avenue, walking to take a bus. He's gone down Greenford Road to the roundabout there at Greenford, wearing quite a distinctive ragdo headscarf. He's got a short beard. Did anyone see him?
We saw in the film there this group, the group of guys. What do we know about them?
Yeah, a group of youths seen at 7:55 in the underpass, described as either black youths or hooded, so of unknown ethnicity. We would like to trace those youths.
I mean, given that he was a gentle guy, minding his own business, you can't help but wonder what on earth the motive was for what was... I mean, we left out the worst details and they were appalling.
A truly horrific attack. It was possibly a robbery gone wrong. His mobile phone was found by his feet. Whoever did this attack possibly sustained injuries in the process. They used a broken bottle. Could have been covered in blood. Again, if anyone knows anyone who's got injuries unexplained or had blood on them, get in touch with us, please.
OK. Lee, are you linking this to any other crimes potentially in the area?
Yeah, there was a series of robberies leading up to the murder using bottles, so we are investigating those. But I would particularly appeal to anyone who witnessed the murder, was not involved, get in touch so that we can eliminate them from our inquiries.
OK, thanks for now. I should tell people there's a very big reward on this one, £20,000 for information leading to the successful identification, arrest and prosecution of whoever did this. So please, if you've got information that could help, do call us now. 0500 600 600. Or you could call Crime Stoppers anonymously if that suits you better. 0800 555 111 is the Crime Stoppers number. Now, here are Matthew and Rav with news on last month's cases, including the missing chef, Claudia Lawrence.
It's now been 43 days since Claudia Lawrence, the 35-year-old chef from York, vanished without trace. But our appeal last month generated some really interesting calls about Claudia's previous relationships. 2 key witnesses have now come forward. The first saw a couple arguing near York University early on Thursday, the 19th of March. A second witness also saw a man and a woman on Melrose Gate Bridge the same morning at around 5:30 a.m. The man was wearing a dark hooded top, combat trousers and was smoking with his left hand. Police are anxious to trace them and last week declared the investigation a murder inquiry. Well, we're working closely with Detective Superintendent Ray Galloway, who's leading the investigation, and next month we'll be reconstructing Claudia's last movements in the hope that someone somewhere can help reveal what actually happened to her. In the meantime, if you have any information, please call North Yorkshire Police on 0845 60 60 247.
Now, fantastic news about the first ever case shown on Crimewatch way back in 1984. The murder of a young girl in Nottinghamshire.
We start with a case that's chilling. Somewhere, probably in the English Midlands, there's a killer on the loose. And someone must know who he is.
Colette Aram was abducted on her way to her boyfriend's house on October the 30th, 1983. Her body was found the following morning in this field near where she lived in the village of Keyworth. She'd been brutally raped and strangled. She was just 16 years old. 25 years on, and it's a case we've never given up on, reappealing to you for information on a number of times. Well, developments this month hit the headlines. A 50-year-old man was arrested and charged and is now awaiting trial. We'll certainly let you know what happens.
Now, 4 years ago, we appealed for your help to catch the killers of close friends Andrew Robb and David McElwain. Andrew and David were both stabbed to death almost in the middle of nowhere.
I've been a police officer for 18 years, and this was the worst crime scene I've ever attended. These young men were not just stabbed, they were practically decapitated. It's beyond comprehension. It was horrendous.
It's very hard to cope with. You know, it's something you'll never get over. Like, you go to bed at night and it's the last thing on your mind. You waken in the morning, it's the first thing on your mind.
Our lives are gone. The lives we had finished on the 19th of February 2000. They just ceased as they were. You know, we live different lives now, and we try to make the best of the life we have.
Well, as a direct result of that emotional appeal, someone who actually witnessed the murders contacted the police. Almost 10 years after the killings, police persistence paid off, and earlier this month, Stephen Brown was found guilty of Andrew and David's murder and sentenced to a minimum of 30 years.
At the beginning of the year, we showed you this. It's CCTV of a man leading an 85-year-old woman to a newsagent cash point in Sandyway, Cheshire last year. Police believed he was a bogus workman who'd threatened the woman into withdrawing money. We had a great response on the night, with several people calling in to name him, many of them police officers who'd had previous dealings with him. He's now been identified as 25-year-old Joe Louth. There he is from Stockton-on-Tees. But now we know who he is, we need to know where he is, and he may have fled to Ireland. Where is he tonight? Call us here, 0500 600 600.
Now, it's not just the Bank of England printing money these days. This unlikely bunch thought they could do the job just as well. They're a motley crew who should have been collecting their free bus passes, but instead they've ended up with a one-way ticket to jail. This month they were convicted, would you believe it, of a £6 million counterfeiting racket. Matthew has the inside story.
I'll tell you what, lads, right? We start knocking out them 50s, we'll clear 10 grand a week.
Jesus.
A week.
Right.
Yeah, I know. We will.
What you spend your money on, Harry boy? I think I'm going to buy a brand new armchair.
One that goes up the stairs. They're called stair lift.
Don't you splash out.
Yeah, it's a bit strong, isn't it?
And I'm going to sit in the Starkers.
Oh,
right. Surrounded by £20 notes.
Oh, and then fall out of the chair and roll around on it. That is really tacky.
Between December 2006 and July 2007, a group of middle-aged men met regularly at a West London working men's club. They looked like any other bunch of mates, enjoying a pint or two.
But these were no ordinary meetings and no ordinary men. They were, in fact, a gang running one of the most sophisticated banknote scams in recent history. What they didn't realise, though, was their every move was being watched.
All right, mate?
No, it's a really good gear here, Tony.
Yeah?
Aye.
Soccer, the serious organised crime agency, had received a tip-off that a man called Tony Rees, involved in a Scottish counterfeiting scam, was selling forged notes to crooks in London.
We placed Rees under surveillance, and as we watched him meeting various people, it became apparent to us fairly quickly that there was something much bigger going on than we first realised.
Rees led them to this man, Angus Weaver.
Soccer realised a new operation was being set up in London. A gang was going to start making counterfeit banknotes worth millions. It started over champagne and sandwiches here at Claridge's.
At this key meeting, Weaver discussed setting up the scam. He was going to run it like a professional business, recruiting the right man for every step of the process. First, he brought in Michael Duffy, a retired chauffeur. Then, unemployed 57-year-old James Allen. And next, 30-year-old IT whiz Sheriff Oakey.
We placed every member of the gang under surveillance. This involved watching them at their home addresses when they were out, meeting places, including pubs, while we built a case against them. We could see the gang coming together, but at this point we still were not sure exactly what each individual's role would be in this conspiracy.
Weaver was the boss. The youngest, Oakey, was going to source the equipment and do the initial printing of the notes. Duffy and Allen would do the more technical stuff, like adding the hologram and foil strips.
Amazingly, none of the men had done this before. They had no experience of forging whatsoever. But they were determined to learn the tricks of the trade, and fast.
In addition to getting a demonstration of a foiling machine, Oakey was also seen to order some paper cut exactly to the right dimensions for £20 notes from a high street stationer.
By now, everything was in place. The gang just needed one final thing, and that was a place to work. They found it here, in this nondescript block of flats in Chiswick in West London, the home of an 80-year-old man, Dennis Hancock's.
Also known as Harry Boy.
We watched Oakey move all the counterfeiting equipment from his home address to a new location, a flat in Chiswick, and so that became the focus of the investigation.
The con was on.
The team had decided that they were going to forge Bank of England £20 notes and €50 notes and then pass them on for huge profit.
Tell you what, son, we keep this up, we'll be banging out 40 grand a month.
10 grand a week, boss. I'm dreaming of all these notes.
In this country, the counterfeiters target the note of the highest value in mass circulation. Now, obviously, that's the £20 note. The reason they do that is that that's how they get the biggest return for their efforts.
And it looked like they'd thought of everything.
You got to start wearing gloves, son. Christ, getting fingerprints all over the place.
Yeah, all right, all right.
Never mind that. We've got to try and stop this bloody noise. The neighbours are here.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about buying a box, try and cover that compressor.
That'd be a good idea, then.
Yeah, we can leave it on longer then, can't we? I reckon we can bash out about 800 in half an hour.
You're joking?
No, I'm not. 800 half hour. Work that out.
In the evenings, the group would meet up to discuss how things were going and to talk tactics.
Oh, no, I'll spend the money on.
What?
Villa in Spain.
Damn, it's a stupid...
No, they're not. They're still going out
Did
there.
you watch the documentaries? That Costa del Crime's been finished 10 years.
When the notes were finished, Weaver would collect them from Duffy and distribute them on the black market.
Some of these notes were getting into general circulation, but the dilemma for us was we wanted to make sure that when we did strike and arrest these people, that we had the evidence against all of them and not leave some of them in place to carry on.
The fakes the gang were producing were of an incredibly high quality. It's no wonder they thought they would get away with it and make millions.
I believe that this group thought that they could probably go on forever printing this money and never be caught.
This is like a dream come true.
By now, Soccer had been watching the forgers for months.
We saw Weaver pass a large box to Duffy, and of course we suspected that it was full of unfinished notes, and we knew that once finished they would be heading for general circulation.
Finally, after 10 months, Soccer had enough evidence to make their move. The gang were blissfully unaware. They had no idea they were about to be busted.
On the 26th of July 2007, in a number of dawn raids across London, the gang were arrested.
Mr Weaver, serious organised crime agency, you're under arrest and we've got a warrant to search your property.
What's all this about then, eh?
In Weaver's flat, we found receipts from the foil company and forged £20 notes. In Oakey's flat, we seized his computer on which there was research on foiling, and he had a blueprint for fake notes.
But anything you do say may be used against you.
In Duffy's house, we found the printer, pages of notes with serial numbers on them, and £250,000 worth of £20 notes. Alum only had one fake €50 note, but it was enough.
And when Soccer raided 80-year-old Hancock's garage, they caught him red-handed. All of the gang's equipment was there, including the foiling machine.
10 months of hard work paid off. The group were arrested. They had absolutely no idea they'd been under surveillance for 10 months. It was a tremendous job.
I think the historical perspective here is that counterfeit banknotes have been around almost as long as genuine banknotes. But the important point here is that these days, between us and the police, we have in place enough measures that eventually we hope these criminals will be caught.
Weaver, the boss, was sentenced to 4 years, 4 months. Reese, Alum and Duffy all got just under 4 years. Oakey, 21 months. Because of his age, Hancock's was given a suspended sentence. 6 men, 1 gang, had been put out of business.
Well, a lot of nerve, Matthew. Did they have a lot of skill? I mean, how good were the forgeries?
They're really good. I mean, some of the best the Bank of England have seen. I mean, when you look at them, I mean, they look pretty convincing. I mean, you cannot make the perfect note. There are always little imperfections, certainly, that the Bank of England, with all their enhanced security, can spot. The problem with these ones were the quality of the die. That was the imperfection. So that allowed Soccer to actually forensically link each of those notes they found with that defect with this particular gang.
I mean, I definitely couldn't tell the difference with somebody who's clearly not an expert. They do seem like an unlikely bunch, though.
They are. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it, that a group of amateurs can actually put together an operation like this and create notes of such high quality. When they busted Tony Reese in connection with that Scottish counterfeit scam, they found in his garage this suitcase, exactly like it is here, jam-packed with counterfeit notes. The only other thing they found there as well is this book called Funny Money, and guess what? It's a book about a counterfeit scam. I mean, you couldn't really make it up, could you?
How common is counterfeiting?
it's been around for centuries. I mean, they used to hang counterfeiters. There are about 2.2 billion notes in circulation, around 300,000 are fake, worth about 6 million. And the Bank of England and Soccer are very keen to nail that sort of misconception it's victimless crime.
Yeah.
They say exactly the opposite is true. If you find one of these notes in your wallet, your purse, your till, you get nothing back. And in these tough economic times, that makes things instantly tougher. So plenty of victims. That's why they're so delighted to close this mob down.
Thanks very much, Matthew. Let me just mention that over the last 6 months, the Crimewatch team has been given unprecedented access to specialist police operations designed to target serious crime and very dangerous criminals. In the first of 3 programmes, we're on the streets of Calais with the men and women battling to stop illegal immigrants smuggling their way into Britain. And we witness the police's new tool in the fight against gun crime. Plus, we travel halfway around the world on the hunt for suspected paedophiles. Here's a preview where officers have just arrived at the home of a British suspect. That includes some strong images. Malcolm Payne, 59, is accused of the abuse of a 14-year-old boy. Payne is at home, and while he's allowed the ties to search his house, he has yet to emerge.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Melissa.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Just to let you know, I've sent you through an image of some of the material that's been seized at Payne's address. So there's a lot of adult porn, there's some dildos, passport, they've got some data storage as well.
Brilliant, so this is Payne's.
This is Payne, yeah.
And was he home alone?
No, he's here with a number of local ties, but no children.
Very good, thanks for that.
Thanks.
And then, as the team continues to examine the evidence they've seized, the man at the centre of it all, hiding out of sight, finally steps outside.
My name's Jim Warnock. I'm from CEOP. It's a Child Exploitation Online Protection Centre from the United Kingdom. We're here to support the Royal Thai Police with the work they're doing this morning.
Well, that man has now been charged and is awaiting trial in Thailand. For more, do watch Crimewatch on the Streets. That's next Thursday at 9 p.m. right here on BBC One. Now, Rav, what's been coming in on the phones tonight?
Lots, actually, doing well. 26 calls and texts and rising all the time on Adam Chadwick, the brutal murder in Leeds of that young father. Suggestions for the door knocker. We showed you the e-fit as to who that could be, so that's all encouraging. A couple of callers want to know where it happened. It's Clifton Mount, Hare Hills area of Leeds. And we've also had a call regarding the weapon that the officers really want that caller's call back. You can speak in confidence to the Detective Superintendent in charge, which is Steve Payne. More on the update to follow. See you then.
Right, that's just about all for now then. Details on all of tonight's cases are online, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. You can log on right now for a live update on what's been happening right here on the phones. It strikes me tonight has been a particularly busy evening. The lines are open until midnight tonight and from 7:30 in the morning. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday for Crimewatch on the Streets, as I mentioned. Crimewatch itself is back on Tuesday, the 2nd of June, when we mark our 25th anniversary. Don't go away, though, because we're here after the news, of course, with a full update on all of tonight's cases. If you can help, but you haven't picked up the phone yet, then please do call now. It could all be down to you. See you at 10:35.
'60s crime needs a gentle touch.
I don't need an appointment. I'm investigating a murder.
You've got blood on your shirt.
If you've got any prayers left, now would be a good time. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Inspector George Gently, starring Martin Shaw. Sunday at 8:30 on BBC One.
Some people think of Parliament as a circus. Tonight, Question Time is upstaging them. We're coming from the Hippodrome in Great Yarmouth. And among our acts, the comedian Frank Skinner, Hilary Benn, the Secretary of State for the Environment, and the Shadow Health Secretary, Andrew Lansley. And I'll be the ringmaster, cracking the whip from 10:45 on BBC One.
The BBC 10 o'clock news on BBC One with Fiona Bruce in London and Hugh Edwards in Basra.